Okay. It is Friday, February 7th. Josh Allen is the NFL MVP. We have our final preview for the Super Bowl, including my pick. NBA trade deadline came and passed with so much action. And we'll discuss much more. Oh, there's Overwatch. This is the early game podcast. Listen to the show in the mornings on your commute, whenever and wherever, so you can be a part of today's sports conversations. Let's go. Okay, so we'll start off with our NFL MVP. And so Josh Allen finally gets the MVP he's been working for ever since he entered the league in 2018. The first thing I want to say is, look, he's resume building. He is making his case for the NFL Hall of Fame. He's making his case for being the greatest Buffalo Bill quarterback of all time. He's making his case for being in the conversation as one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Right now, he is in a certain tier. He obviously has 0 Super Bowls. And I take the amount of Super Bowls you win very seriously when contemplating the legacy of a player. Contemplating that player's standing in all-time greatness. And we saw that just last night. Kind of the opposite of that. Eli Manning got snubbed for the Hall of Fame last night. And based on who else got in, Antonio Gates, Sterling Sharp, Jared Allen, and Eric Allen, I think it's ridiculous that a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback did not make it in his first year. And again, that's because in terms of talking about all-time greatness, the most important stat, the most important thing you could do, in my mind, in my book, is win Super Bowls. And win multiple Super Bowls. And the reason why I say win multiple Super Bowls is because, as I've mentioned on this show, you can luck your way into a Super Bowl. See Nick Foles. But once you win 2 or 3, you're just a different breed. So now let's bring it back to Josh Allen. He still has 0 Super Bowls. But in terms of legacy, on his resume, he needed an MVP award. And in a conference with Lamar Jackson, with Patrick Mahomes, with Joe Burrow, he frankly needed this one. He needed to get that under his belt. There was a lot of shading for this MVP. People online seemed stunned. They thought that Lamar Jackson should have won it. And that's fine. A lot of his numbers were better than Josh Allen's. But if we're talking about the most valuable player, who is the most valuable? It's Josh Allen. Who did it with less? Josh Allen. Who had pundits saying all offseason this was the year it would all fall apart for the Bills? Josh Allen. Who had Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis leave this past offseason with Khalil Shakir essentially being his wide receiver 1 heading into week 1? Josh Allen. Who didn't have Derrick Henry tear it up in his backfield? Josh Allen. Who beat the Chiefs in the regular season and had the 2 seed in the AFC? Josh freaking Allen. Don't undersell him. Don't take this away from him. Stop disrespecting him like that. This is an award. This is not a contract negotiation. We don't have to go comparing, well, Lamar Jackson had these numbers this year, so this is the kind of contract you should get. No, this isn't a contract negotiation. This is an award where we see who is the most valuable player. Josh Allen did more with less. Got the 2 seed with less. Less to work with. And it's not like his defense was doing him much favors. Don't just throw numbers at me when we're talking about MVP and say that's all that matters. The right person won the MVP last night, and that was Josh Allen. I mean, I know I'm going to be getting Bills fan, Bills boy. Josh Allen deserved it. Lamar had a weak schedule to end their season, the Ravens season. Josh Allen stayed true to what he was doing all year. He lowered his interceptions, only had 6 on the season. Got better in the turnover game. This was the best version of Josh Allen we have ever seen. And now, in terms of legacy, as I said, will he be able to win a Super Bowl? Will he be able to win more than one Super Bowl? I'm sure it keeps him up at night. I'm sure ultimately he's glad he got this MVP, but he knows there's much more to do. Much more business to take care of. And so we'll see. What does the future hold for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills? Okay. It's time to move on. It's that day. It's that time of year. The Super Bowl is upon us. We're 2 days away. I don't know if it's just me, but this season really flew by. Feels like we just started. Before I preview the actual matchup, I saw on Greeny, he went on Pat McAfee yesterday. Something he said really stuck out to me. Regarding watching the Chiefs in yet another Super Bowl, he said, why should we care? Why should he care? He's witnessing greatness. So why should he care that we get Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again? And honestly, what I'm about to say, it's coming from a Bills fan. Someone who's been disappointed by Patrick Mahomes year after year. I cannot agree more with him. Look, I never hated the Patriots as much as I probably should have. And the reason for that was because I knew I was able to talk about watching that dynasty. I would look back in years from then, and I would say, I saw Tom Brady play in his prime. I saw Bill Belichick play coach in his prime and do what they did with the Patriots. I was able to witness that greatness. I don't involve myself in the Michael Jordan versus LeBron debate because I never watched Michael Jordan play. I've gone back and watched his highlights, but I'll never fully understand the impact Michael Jordan had on basketball. I'll never understand what it was like game day of a game Michael Jordan was playing in. I'll never experience that. I'll never experience the actual present day impact. I know what it's like experiencing LeBron James, but I'll never fully understand the narrative or the context of what it was like to witness Michael Jordan. So in terms of witnessing greatness, I am thrilled to watch Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. I have the same feeling I did with Mahomes as I did with LeBron James in the 2010s. I felt like we saw him in the NBA Finals every year. But ultimately, as much as I don't like LeBron James, I didn't mind it. I felt like we were truly witnessing history. And this Chiefs team, I feel the exact way. Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed are going for their 4th Super Bowl win. We are witnessing one of the greatest coaches of all time. We are witnessing one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. We are witnessing one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Sit down Sunday night and enjoy history. Live in the moment. Who knows if we will ever see a team like this ever again. But on to the actual matchup. Look, we've discussed this coaching matchup. We've discussed the quarterback situation. These two teams played 2 years ago. And the thing that's the main difference since then is Saquon Barkley. And he has been on a heater so far this playoff. The Chiefs were 8th in the league against the run this past season. I genuinely, my heart of hearts, think that this game boils down to Saquon Barkley. Will he be able to continue his postseason success, or will the Chiefs defense be able to stop him? I do feel like he's going to have a monster game. Is he going to have 3 touchdowns again? I do not think so. But he'll carry the ball a lot. He's going to extend plays and drives for the Eagles, and that's what's important. I think what he's going to be able to do best is keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands for longer. And that's what you need against Mahomes. You need long drives, and the less time you give him, the better. And so if I'm the Eagles, the best thing to do here is feed Saquon Barkley. Establish your passing game. Establish Jalen Hurts as a run threat. But make sure that the offense is running through your best offensive player. Not Jalen Hurts, not A.J. Brown, not Devontae Smith, not Dallas Goedert. Make sure the offense is running right through Saquon Barkley. I think that the only way the Eagles win is in an outcome where Saquon Barkley is the MVP of the Super Bowl. I really believe that. That has to be the script. It's not like the Chiefs are overbearingly amazing defending the run. They're good. This is not a situation where where Coach Reed, Steve Spagnuolo can overthink how they're going to handle Saquon. And it's not a situation where Nick Sirianni can overthink how their offense should run, what they should do offensively. The Chiefs have to set it up like they are going to stop the run, and the Eagles need to feed into that. And they need to say, we have the best running back in football. The best. Number one. Let's run it. The Eagles need to say, the Chiefs need to say, we need to do whatever we can to stop the run. And the Eagles have to man up. Don't get too concerned about the fact that Steve Spagnuolo will have some sort of response. Have your great player do what he does and be great. And so the question here is, what will the outcome be of this game? What is it going to be? Who is going to win? From an X's and O's standpoint, not an X's and O's podcast, make sure you remember that. But from an X's and O's standpoint, I think that the Eagles match up better against the Chiefs than the Chiefs do. Yes, the Chiefs win in the quarterback game, for sure. But in terms of actual matchup overall, when we're adding up the run game, the pass game, and special teams and everything defensively, the Eagles are the better team. That being said, I am done betting against Patrick Mahomes. I am done betting against Steve Spagnuolo. And I say that because just going back to the AFC Championship game, one thing I was pretty confident in was that, one, Mahomes was going to have a tough time offensively, and he just didn't. He kept driving. And two, I thought we'd be able to get through the Chiefs' defense a lot easier than we did. But Steve Spagnuolo had everything drawn up. He knew exactly how to stop Josh Allen on the run. And Patrick Mahomes knew exactly what he was going to do to get the ball out fast and counteract what the Bills were going to do defensively. And so, as much as I want to chalk it up to, the Eagles can have a response to Mahomes. They've got a great defense. I cannot discount what Mahomes is capable of doing. And so, in that vein, the Chiefs, I believe, will win the Super Bowl. They'll make it 3 straight. And Mahomes continues on his path that I set out a couple days ago. I stick by it. I think he's going to have to be in 8-9 Super Bowl territory, closer to 9. I think he might need 9. I know it sounds crazy when I say it. He's going to need more Super Bowls to prove his case as the greatest of all time. And we are witnessing history. But we will obviously have a huge recap. I might even dive into commercials, halftime show. I'm not such a Kendrick Lamar guy. It's not like I'm Team Drake or anything. But I'm not, we will see how that performance is. I believe John Baptiste is going to be the anthem singer. So we will see what goes on, what's trending. Monday morning. Okay, let's move on to the NBA. And yesterday was one of the craziest trade deadlines, most active trade deadlines we have ever had in NBA history, and at least since I've been following the NBA for the last 20 years. The biggest trade for me was not such a sexy name, but it was DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs. This was the most lopsided trade not involving Luka. It was the Cavs got DeAndre Hunter, and they traded away to the Hawks Karis LeVert, George Niang, and 3 second-round picks and 2 pick swaps. And Hunter is averaging 19 points per game. And so the question is, does this move put the Cavs over the top? Is this going to be enough for the Cavs to win the East and possibly win the whole thing? We'll see. I'm not discounting the Celtics. And as I've said, the Celtics have been so good for the last couple of years. I'm inclined not to bet against them. I'm inclined not to say that anybody could beat the Celtics, that a team like the Cavs, who are up-and-comers this season, I understand they're having a phenomenal season. I'm still bullish on picking them, even with this DeAndre Hunter trade. Does it make them better? Absolutely. They're absolutely a better team today than they were yesterday than they were the day before that. Do I still consider them the favorites to win the East? No. I would not bet against the Celtics, and I still frankly think that the Knicks, if healthy in the playoffs, are better than the Cavs, and they would beat the Cavs. Now, the other big move that I liked yesterday, and there were so many moves, Dennis Schroeder was moving all over the place. PJ Tucker was traded twice. Dennis Schroeder was traded 3 times in the last month. Just a lot of moves. Now, the thing that we spoke about, or the move and the team that we've been obviously speaking about for the last week, was that since the Lakers traded Anthony Davis, they needed a center. They needed more size. And the question was, how are they going to fill that? There were rumors about maybe Mitch Robinson from the Knicks. But yesterday, they traded Dalton Neck, Cam Reddish, and a 2030 first-round pick swap. And 2031 first-round pick swap. I love that how far in advance we're trading picks in the NBA. I love it. And they acquired Mark Williams. And so this is their new center. This is their new toy to play with that center. First of all, I find it hilarious that they had to give up this much for Mark Williams relative to how much they had to give up to Luka Doncic. The Mavs, that was just an all-time fumble. I'll continue to say it. But now, this is what the Lakers are going to go with to try to win the West and try to win the finals. Headlined by Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Luka Doncic. Now Mark Williams will play center. And they have obviously a lot of other pieces to move in and out of that fifth spot in the starting rotation. And so does this make them the favorites in the West? They have an uphill battle here. They're not the number 1 seed right now. But there's an uphill battle for them. And they still need to be able to prove. And Luka's going to make his debut on Saturday. We'll obviously preview that on Monday. So Luka makes his debut tomorrow. And we will see what kind of gel, what kind of chemistry those two players have. What kind of chemistry that team has with that alignment and that setup. Okay, let's move on, because everyone's favorite segment on this show has returned, because we have Ovi Watch. That's right. Ovi scored, baby. He is now 16 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's record, 15 to tie. The Caps beat the Flyers 4-3. This was from Spot Rack. I love this account, by the way. This gives you so much good information on stats, on players' contracts. So Spot Rack tweeted, Alex Ovechkin is now 15 goals away, 879 from tying Wayne Gretzky's all-time record of 894 career goals. Gretzky played 1,487 games to reach the number, while Ovechkin just finished game 1,464. Ovi remains 1,252 assists behind the great one. So, I heard some kickback on, Ovi's plus minus compared to Gretzky's plus minus. Look, no one's trying to argue here that Alexander Ovechkin is better than the great one, better than Wayne Gretzky. I also saw a tweet that there was an article that Ovi has so many empty net goals, that's what's helping him. BS. Can we just give this guy credit? He is going to lead the NHL, one of the four major sports. He is going to lead that league in the number one key performance indicator. In the number one statistic. Who has the most goals? It's like Barry Bonds going to break the record and us saying, oh, well, he doesn't have as many RBIs as the guy he's beating. He doesn't have nearly as many RBIs. All right. He still has the record. He still hit the most home runs. He's still historic. He is etched in history forever. It is crazy to me that we're trying to undermine what Ovechkin's doing here by saying he's not, by comparing him to the guy he's beating, who is clearly, no one's arguing that Ovechkin is anywhere close to Gretzky. We're just recognizing that this player accomplished a feat which is so improbable, so insane. Don't take that away from him. Okay, let's move on. This is our last story. We're going to baseball. Ippei Mizuhara was sentenced yesterday to 5 years for defrauding Shohei Ohtani. So this has now been going on for about a year. Last year, before the baseball season started, Ippei Mizuhara was charged for fraud, for defrauding Shohei Ohtani, stealing money from him to gamble with. And so this has been going on for a year. And yesterday, he was sentenced to 5 years. And the article on The Athletic said prosecutors had requested a 57-month sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release and restitution of nearly $17 million to Ohtani. They were granted exactly that. Mizuhara had asked for an 18-month sentence. He pleaded guilty to bank fraud and filing a false tax return in June after formally being charged in April. And you know what? I saw a couple of reactions to this. One reaction was, how is this all he's getting? I mean, he stole $17 million from him. And I think that's warranted. 5 years does not seem like a lot. I haven't looked into comparable precedent about how many years you get for that type of that type of act, for being guilty for that kind of act. I have not looked into that. It seems a little soft. I'll say this about the legal system. If nobody's gotten more than 5 years for something similar, you're not going to get more than 5 years. Simple as that. I hope, for one thing I learned in my 3 years of law school, I hope that shined through. But the skepticism will continue. The skepticism as to whether it was really Mizuhara or he's covering up for Ohtani, that's the big one. That's what a lot of people believe. And maybe in 20 years from now, we learn that this is not the full story. But seems to be, this is it for now. We finally have a resolution. Mizuhara is going to go to jail for 5 years. And he is going to pay Shohei Ohtani back. Okay. That's a show. Make sure you're following on all the platforms. Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, X, like, comment. If anything happens over the weekend that's crazy, I will record another emergency pod. That was fun. Had a fun time recording that Luka Doncic one last weekend. Maybe I'll record something Sunday morning. Who knows? Who knows what happens? Who knows? Anything could happen with the early game podcast. Monday morning, we will recap the Super Bowl. We will recap Luka Doncic's Lakers debut. This early game podcast. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. We will see you Monday morning.